Okay, so what makes something useful? Question mark. Uh, well, let's look at an invention by Peter Fankhauser. In his TED Talk, he talks about this invention that they made at a university, and it is a Ballbot. So what this does is it balances here. This is the ground, and using three rotating discs, the Ballbot can maintain its balance. So you can push or pull it. It can circle around objects, and it can also follow like a predestined path. So it can do some pretty cool things, but the question is it useful or not? So the things that Frank suggested that it could be used for include medicine, taking a ride on it, and also providing information in a crowded area. So I sort of doubt personally whether it's really that useful, because in terms of medicine, the flexibility of dealing with the situation is what makes it useful. So usually having a person is really valuable, and that's the same for information. It's probably better to have a kiosk where you can get one place for information rather than confusing people by having a robot walk around. And it's usually better to have a human who can actually notice something that needs to be done rather than a regular robot. And then for a ride, we already have the Segway, so that's just duplication. And the thing is, so from a human perspective, it's not really that useful, but if you reconsider it from a robot perspective, then maybe things change. So when you consider what's going on with the Ballbot, the first thing that's really cool is that it becomes mobile. So the Ballbot can go anywhere. It's anywhere on a flat surface, and maybe in the future, over rugged terrain. And that's really valuable from a robot's perspective, because then it can, go and see lots of new places. And then also, the other thing that's amazing is it can achieve an objective. So, I guess you can have that be like a target sign. The objective for the Ballbot is just to stay standing, and it decides how to do that based on its own measurements. It's making its own decisions in some form or fashion. And so, if you compare that with a robot that would say chooses how to fry an egg, that's pretty amazing. Or getting from location A to B, just like the general skill of being able to achieve an objective by taking measurements and deciding how to do it and then successfully acting on it, that's cool. So in terms of what makes something useful, the insight is just that it depends on your perspective. So from a human perspective, it's okay, but from a robot perspective, that's really awesome.